I get a lot of story submissions, and lately I've gotten a lot of scary comments that children have made to their parents or other people. Here are the 5 that I personally find the most disturbing. Number 5. I used to babysit for this family when I was a teenager. They had one really young boy named Carl. I liked Carl for the most part. He was just a really nice kid. He was 7 years old. He always did his homework, and he was really quiet and well behaved. I had gotten a call from Carl's parents asking if I could babysit on the weekend. Apparently his uncle had passed away, and Carl was taking it pretty hard. They wanted to bring him to the funeral, but whenever they tried talking to him about it, he began panicking. He had been to a funeral before, about a year earlier when his grandmother passed away, so the parents were unsure of why he was so freaked about going. I was more than happy to babysit. Carl was very upset the entire time that I was there, but that was to be understood. I asked him if he was upset because he missed his uncle, and he shook his head. He didn't want to tell me what was bothering him. Finally, he started crying, and I'll never forget what he said when I asked him if he was okay. "No," he responded. "I don't want you to die." I thought he was just upset that he had 2 close family members die, and he thought he was going to lose other people who were close to him. When I told him I wasn't going to die, he responded, "That's what Grandma and Uncle John said when I told them they were going to die, but they both died a week later." Fortunately, I didn't die a week later. I have to admit, though, I was scared as hell for that week. Number 4. I remember when I was around 12 years old, I was hanging out with my cousins around Easter time. They were all younger than me, so I always felt like I was their babysitter or something. But we all got along, and we still do. This particular time, I don't recall why, we started talking about dying. It was probably because we got on the subject of Easter and salvation, and it naturally led to dying. Anyway, I told my younger cousins that when you die, you see a tunnel of white light, and you'll go through it and feel at peace with yourself. My 5-year-old cousin Tommy laughed and told me that wasn't how it happened. He then explained that when you die, it's dark and cold. He said you're laying on a table, and about 20 hands grab you from under the table and pull you down, screaming into the darkness. I asked Tommy why he thought that. What scary movie had he seen it in? He responded, "None. That's what happened to me last time I died." Number 3. My son had an imaginary friend named Kyle. Now, this isn't one of those weird stories where the imaginary friend told my son to do weird things. He didn't break rules and blame it on the imaginary friend. Quite the opposite, actually. Sometimes my son would go in and clean up the kitchen. When I asked him why he did that, he would say that he didn't. Kyle liked cleaning, so Kyle went in and he cleaned the kitchen. My son was also really polite. He would always use great manners when talking to older people. And when adults asked him where he learned to get such great manners from, he would always respond that his best friend Kyle taught him to be polite. One day when my son was 7 years old, my wife and I were entertaining some other couples at our home. By this point, my son had been in bed for a couple hours. We were having some cocktails and telling some stories. Suddenly, my son came running into the room crying and bawling his eyes out. He looked absolutely terrified. When we asked him what was wrong, he kept telling us Kyle's name over and over. When we were finally able to get him to talk, He told us, "The devil came into my room, and he grabbed Kyle and he drug him off to hell." The scariest thing is, we weren't Christians and never taught my son about God and the devil. Well, maybe the scariest thing is, my son never mentioned seeing Kyle again. Number 2. When my son was 6 years old, we were going to take him out trick-or-treating with his brother and sister. For weeks beforehand, we kept asking him over and over again what he wanted to be for Halloween. We had always dressed him up as a little pirate beforehand, but thought he might want to choose his own costume this year. However, he never gave us an answer. He simply shrugged his shoulders. He was too big for his pirate costume from last year, so we decided to buy him a clown costume. We dressed him up and we did his face up in clown makeup. He seemed a bit distant when we were doing it. After he was done, and he was adorable, we decided to show him himself in the mirror. My son immediately started bawling. I held him and asked him what was wrong. His response was, "Now I have to start killing little boys, and I don't want to kill anyone." We took the costume off and cut holes in the sheet and let him go as a ghost instead. He was much happier, and so were we. Number 1. I have to forewarn you that this one is a little gross, but it is pretty freaky as well. This is something my mom told me I said when I was 5. We were going for a walk in the nearby woods, though she can't recall exactly why. She said that we came across a deer carcass in the woods. Its flesh was covered in maggots. My mom said that she tried to pull me away from it, but for some reason I was fascinated with the disgusting thing. When she asked why I wanted to see the maggots, I told her, "Those are the things that ate me when I died." Hey y'all, Killer Orange Cat here. Making a guest appearance at the end of this video is the world's greatest black cat, Drusilla. She's doing her toothless impression here. I hope you liked this video, and please hit the like button if you did. I wanted to try something a little different, and I've been getting these submissions about disturbing child sayings, so I thought I'd share the ones I found the freakiest. I feel a need to apologize for number 1. I almost didn't include it because I didn't want to gross anyone out, but then I remembered that I run a horror channel, so it actually made more sense that I would include it. Let me know in the comments if you like the idea of me adding lists like this to the channel. I've been trying to think of ways to improve and increase content. True and original scary stories will always be the focus of this channel. Anything else I do would just be in addition to that. And if I do lists, I promise to not just regurgitate the same lists with the same items you've already heard in 100 other lists. I will strive to keep the lists as original, content-wise, as I do with my stories. So let me know. And if you're not already subscribed to Killer Orange Cat, please hit the button below, or use the one that will appear at the end of this video. Feel free to comment and share this video with someone you think might enjoy it. You can also follow Ichigo and myself, and I guess this week even Drusilla on Facebook and Twitter. In the meantime, don't forget to make sure to check in your closet and check under your bed, because you never know where a killer orange or a killer black cat might be hiding. Good night.